April 30th. This has been the worst night of my life. I can't tell anyone what I've done tonight. Not even Manny. Even a 3-year-old knows what I've done is horrific. But I can't keep this to myself. That's why I'm writing this diary. To keep my sanity. The night started out fine. Me and Robert went out to drink and watch some baseball. But things started getting out of hand after I left to go to the bathroom. I sat down and took a sip of my beer. However, it tasted funny. I didn't think much of it at first, but then I started feeling woozy. Before I knew it, I was knocked out. I woke up in the trunk of a car. I have no idea how I got there or how much time had passed. All I knew is that I was in big trouble and I had to get out of there. I tried banging on the walls and screaming, but no one could hear me. There was no use trying, so I decided to wait out. After waiting in the dark for a few minutes, I noticed I was missing my pants. They must have been stolen by the owner of the car. I could only wonder what they want with me, or what they were gonna do to me. I also remember what Susan had said to me earlier. Don't stay out too late, you have to take Greg to school tomorrow. Looks like that's not happening. After around a half hour of driving, the car finally stopped. Overheard some talking from outside, but couldn't make out any words. Suddenly, the door was opened. A man tied a bandana around my eyes and led me into a dingy garage. I could tell I was in the bad part of Playview. I had only been here to buy sometimes when Greg is at our hole, or when Manny goes on his rants about Fox News. I'm not gonna lie, I was very scared. I was then led into a room and kicked to the ground. Then my blindfold was taken off. I couldn't believe who was in front of me. It was Robert Jefferson, the man who I'd been drinking with just a few hours earlier. The man I had lived next to for 20 years. Had no idea what he would want from me. We've been friends for so long, until he reminded me, "You f*** my wife, Frank." Shit. I didn't think he'd ever find that out. Yes, me and Linda had an affair, I can't deny that. But only lasted a few weeks, since neither of us could live with the guilt. But still, I had no idea how Robert could have known until he said this. Manny told me. Manny, that little apparently walked in on me and Linda and then called Robert a cuck. How does he even know what that means? Oh, Robert, stop. Stop. You like that, baby? Manny. Anyways, Robert clearly didn't take that news well. He kicked Linda out and Riley is now in therapy. You ruined my life, so now I'm gonna ruin yours. He had no idea how correct he was right there. Now I'd never guessed what he meant by it. Knock him out, Bernie. I had a short bout of consciousness, but couldn't grasp what was going on. The world was spinning. All I heard was beeping and muffled sounds of some people talking. I fell asleep again, dipping in and out of consciousness every so often. But still, I couldn't understand what was happening. The last thing I recall was being dragged down the hallway. I woke back up in some kind of janitor supply closet with a searing pain in my lower half. It took me some time to be able to grasp the situation. Reaching down, I felt my burning groin. It was gone, reduced to atoms. There was nothing there. I was smooth, so horrifically smooth. My meat was gone. I was in shock to say the least, but I couldn't just lay on the floor and cry about my missing manhood. I had to get out of there. I mustered up the strength I still had to pull myself up and peer through the keyhole. It seemed that the only thing keeping me in was a locked door and that Benny kid guarding it. I knew I had to get crafty. Everything okay, Bernie? Yep, I sold his pants to the yogurt guy. Yeah, so my pants are now in the hands of some yogurt guy, whatever that means. There were more pressing issues at hand. I searched the supply closet for anything that I might be able to use. The closet didn't really have much, mostly just cleaning supplies, tools, and for some reason a half-empty bottle of lube. Armed with a mop handle and a bottle of Windex, I was ready to come out of the closet and make my escape. Yes, I tied the cloth around my head to look more badass. The door was locked, so I had to somehow trick Benny into opening it. For some reason, this was the first idea to pop him into my head. Oh, my hole's leaking. Somehow it worked. Benny ran to get some duct tape for my issue. When he opened the door, I attacked. After knocking Benny unconscious with my mop, as well as possibly blinding the poor kid, I definitely wasn't in the same place I'd been before when I was knocked unconscious and my meat was detached. It didn't take long to find out I was in the basement of the Jefferson's Country Club. But why would Robert take me here? Quietly moved towards the end of the hallway, where the staircase is. Right now I was on a mission to retrieve my stolen schlong, but I had never been down here before. Still, I heard somewhere that someone's meat can be reattached if it happens within a few hours of amputation, so I continued forward. I figured my manhood had been hidden somewhere close to Robert. It was just a matter of finding his office. But as I reached the stairwell, I looked into the room to the right of me and saw something I did not expect. Robert was running a fully decked out meth lab in the basement of his country club. It was like some you'd see in Breaking Bad. No wonder the Jeffersons were so rich. The country club seemed to be some type of money laundering scheme for his drug business. As I stood in awe of the lab, I was frightened by the sound of an alarm overheard. Robert must have found out that I was gone. I had to make a run for it. The castrated man is on the loose. Into the meth lab I went. I ran into the lab. Inside there was a set of stairs leading to a catwalk. I sprinted up the stairs as I heard Robert's guards coming down the hallway. Around the corner was Robert's office. However, as I turned the bend, the door slowly opened. I looked around. His guards were all over the entrance. Robert trapped me. I was appalled at his game. Menacingly, he stepped onto the catwalk. Well, I've been expecting you, Frank Heffley. Why don't you follow me into my office? I had no choice. After being ordered to give my shotgun up, I sat down in front of Robert's desk. Robert took his seat at the other side. Robert began to lecture me about how he planned the revenge out. He had started plotting weeks ago. Linda wasn't kicked out of the house. Linda is dead. And I'm going to be the next one to go after he's done torturing me at least. For now, Robert stated there were 2 things he wanted me to see. I couldn't believe my ears when he listed the first course of action. I'm going to eat your meat, Frank. But Robert, wouldn't that make you gay? It seemed I mentioned that one fatal flaw of his plan. With Robert distracted, I grabbed a pen from his desk and lunged at him. I stabbed Robert in the neck with his pen and hid behind his desk. Picking up his pistol, I prepared for a shot with his guards. Robert was writhing on the floor with blood spurting out of his neck. I couldn't believe what I had done. I didn't want him to die, but I was too preoccupied to help him. I heard footsteps coming towards the room, followed by a voice I did not expect to hear. I must be going into a castration-induced manic episode, I thought to myself. You've been more vigilant than I expected. I guess I have to take matters into my own hands. Yet, as the doors opened, my fears were confirmed. Susan? I was shocked. My wife, the mother of my children, was trying to kill me. I mean, I know what I did was wrong, but I never thought Susan finding out would lead her over the edge as it has. Give me the schlong, Frank! The bullet hit my finger, blasting it right off. As I clutched my hand in pain, Susan ran over and grabbed my severed meat. Susan ran out the door. I knew she was going to do something awful with my meat, so I picked up Robert's gun and pushed myself up. I stumbled out of the office to see Susan dangling my meat over a vat of acid. There was only one thing I could do to save my meat. I shot Susan straight in the heart, but it didn't matter. My meat fell into the acid. I killed my wife for nothing, yet it felt different than I expected. Adrenaline surged through my body. The idea of taking a life was so horrific, so taboo, yet so exciting. It was a pleasure greater than any orgasm I have ever experienced. I was filled with an urge for more. I shot Robert's guards without remorse, every last one. Most of them were teenagers who worked in a country club, so they hesitated to shoot me, making them easy targets. Around my balls, Benny. Robert ate them. Wrong answer, fat ass. Everyone was dead. I dragged Susan's body out of the country club and put her in my trunk. It was 4 a.m. I grabbed a shovel from home and drove to a forest outside of Plainview. I buried Susan. Afterwards, I parked outside a local strip club where I began writing this diary. Since then, some things have happened. I went home and picked up Manny. Roderick and Greg can live on their own, but Manny needed to be dealt with. He is the reason why my meat is gone after all. I threw Manny out the window. Yeet! I needed to get away, so I drove onto the highway. And so I drove off out of Plainview. I can't write where I'm going in case anyone reads this, but I'm going to find somewhere where no one can reach me. Somewhere I can kill in peace. The end.